excited to introduce my colleague and one of the best people ever, James Davis, our Economic Development Manager. He's going to run this, and then I'll say goodbye. So thank James. Welcome, James, to the stage.
Thank you, Joe. All right, well, I have the pleasure of introducing some amazing small businesses that you may not have known were in Kitsap, or maybe you have, because they're making good waves. Some literally making waves. Speaking of literally making waves, where? There he is, Kyle.
Minimize waves.
Minimizing waves, but in the water, you know.
Yeah, totally.
That's awesome. I'm excited to hear more about that. So what we're going to do is we're going to give them a few minutes each to describe their businesses and kind of the impetus behind the idea and what they're doing today. So we'll go ahead and just start from this side and head down the way. Actually, yeah, Stephanie's there.
Is it working?
Yep.
I push the button, it works now. Got it.
Andrew Horton, everybody.
Hi, I'm Andrew Horton, CEO of Kitsap Wi-Fi, here with my business partner, Mitch. And we are a local internet service provider, meaning we do things a bit differently. So we work with Kitsap PUD to bring fiber to the home and to businesses, but we also do our own networks, meaning we use like the rooftop of the Chamber of Commerce on Bainbridge Island, our office building in Kingston, and soon downtown Pulse will provide internet to businesses that's a little more affordable and really reliable. And one of the things we pride ourselves on is being local, taking care of local businesses, local customers, and we've been doing this for about almost 5 years now, and we're to the point where we're growing, and it's exciting and scary at the same time. And I had some more notes, but yeah, I actually just read this like 2 minutes ago, which is really smart of me. But inspiring us to start our business is we were just sick and tired of the options that are out there. It's like everyone can pick whatever cable company they want or whatever company's out there to provide them whatever service. But it comes down to customer service. Are you getting what you pay for? Are you getting what you want? Is it reliable? Are you always online? Well, the challenge is no, you're not. So rather than complain about all the issues out there, we decided to do something about it. So we started our own internet provider. So we're based out of Kingston, and we're Kitsap mainly, and looking to expand. But we Kitsap, keep it local.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm Stephanie Harris-Uedi. I own the brand The Posh Pescatarian, and we're a lifestyle brand that manifests in a television series, cookbooks, and bespoke events. We also have a food brand that we just launched and are getting into retail and food service that we're really excited about. We've been in business about 10 years in varying ways and are actually fairly recent to Kitsap Peninsula. We've been here about 3 years. So very excited about the opportunity, very excited about being in this part of the world. And what inspired me to create this company is, years ago I transitioned from a regular traditional diet into being a pescatarian due to health reasons. And I had so many people coming to me asking me for tips on transitioning into being a pescatarian. Beef eaters, chicken eaters, they're like, well, what do I do? How do I get more fish into my diet? And that is really sort of my sweet spot. So that's me, and thank you.
Thanks. Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. Thankful to share the time on a beautiful Thursday afternoon. My name is Ashley Stallworth. I'm the founder and CEO of BioFiber Industries. We take agricultural crops and turn them into building materials. One of our main aggregate materials is a new found that you may have heard from your uncle or your uncle's uncle is industrial hemp, right? It grows really fast, but we also take other waste streams in the region and we use them for part of our mix, right? It's sustainable, it's fire resistant, mold resistant, and a lot of other cool aspects. One of the things that led to this inspiration, right, was growing up bi-coastal. I grew up between Washington State and New York. I lived in a little town of 700 called Savannah, Washington. And then every 2 years, I'd go to the Bronx in New York, living in a much different environment. But one thing that remained the same in both areas was the blight. And the blight was usually dedicated or came from the building materials, right? So that is really what kind of got me into material science and found out that everything we really need is right from our environment. So we're going on, at the end of this quarter, we'll be celebrating 5 years, and we're just really excited to see what we can do for the Kitsap community.
Thank you. Thank you. Nice to meet you, everyone. I'm Kyle Lobisser. I founded, now it goes by Foil Cedrus, but really the original name was Cedrus, which is Latin for cedar. wood as a composite material. These are carbon fiber based hydrofoils for surfing, kite foiling, wing foiling. It was actually an Olympic sport this year. If any of you saw it in the Med, it was racing. We're kind of more in the free ride market, riding the waves, as you said, but these leave very little wake because there's very little drag. And what's happening is the surfing industry is transitioning from planing boards to foiling boards because you can ride smaller waves because there's less drag, and you can also ride bigger waves because they go faster than traditional planing boards. I got into this I started this in 2016 in my kitchen because I didn't have a garage. We were living in Silicon Valley. I had just finished working as a product design engineer for Apple and hardware design, and I started doing this with a kite. It's really fun in light winds, and found that the equipment is really technical. Puget Sound and especially Kitsap's blessed with, like, we have Boeing on that side, we've got the Naval Shipyard on this side, we've got a lot of really good technical things going on here, and this equipment's very technical, and I wanted to just do it better. So I started this in 2016, and then this was kind of a COVID success story when people got time away from work from home, stimulus money, they bought foils. And they kind of bought a lot of e-bikes too, and we're sort of following that similar track, but we're working through and trying to grow through kind of the challenging, like post-COVID, people are going back to the office, they're not buying foils every summer, but we have moved manufacturing entirely in-house to Bainbridge, of all places, but our entire supply chain is local. Our carbon fiber comes from Kitsap, our molding takes place on Whidbey, our machinist is in Kingston. Everything is within like a 100-mile radius, so.
That's awesome. Those are some pretty interesting businesses, frankly. And I won't from you play our title for the. But I do want to know a little bit more about what some of the biggest obstacles you have in maintaining and growing your businesses here in Kitsap are. I think we'd all like to hear those. Go ahead and we can start on your side and then come on back down this way.
I don't know if I have any obstacles that would be specific to Kitsap. Kitsap's super diverse. I mean, as we've talked about, from Bainbridge to Kingston to Bremerton, I think my business would probably be better suited here in Bremerton, just given the labor and the nature of the business. But I happen to live on Bainbridge, and part of the reason I want to run a small business is to not commute and, work close to my home. So that's just where I am. But I think, Kitsap is a really diverse place. Like I said, my machinist is in Kingston, my carbon fiber comes just up the peninsula. You've got obviously skilled trades. You have, natural resources. I actually came up here originally from the Bay Area to start an agricultural technology company. Like there's a lot in Kitsap. I think the obstacles that you're going to face, in today's world are global. They're much bigger than what you have at the county level. And so I think this is actually a really great place to start and run a business, and don't have anything to specifically address that question other than it's hard, and it's hard no matter where you are, I think.
Yeah, no worries.
I would say it's part of the human challenge, right? The resistance to change. We're on the precipice of a green economy transition, in real time, change management. People know what that's like in this room. For us, it's convincing and educating the builders, the developers, right? We have a 3-in-1 product that replaces drywall, fiberglass insulation, acoustic barrier, and even the internal external cladding. So that transitions a whole workflow, right? And a lot of large groups who are already established in building and in a westernized kind of way that really isn't for the person inside the building, it's challenging for them to adopt that, right? So that's part of our challenge right now, but as of this year, we have a code appendix for this product that meets the new energy code. So with that, that's literally going to usher in making sure that no Washingtonian is going to be left, with a drafty room or a moldy room, or, have a 3-bedroom house where they can only use 1 bedroom in it because there's weird smells and things going on in there. That happens to more people more often than not. So I think, that's our challenge, is really just the human aspect, but coming together to places like this, making the connections that we need to, it's going to help with this transition.
My challenge being here has been more practical. So getting folks from the ferry to my locations, this includes film crews and friends and family, because once they leave the ferry, taxi service, Ubers, Lyfts are nearly impossible. The last time I had to take a ferry because we missed the fast ferry, it was about $170. I live in Eglon in Kingston, so pretty unique community, but it's incredibly frustrating. Really hard to get people here once they get here unless they want to drive, and that's not always an option for everyone.
So in our line of business, one of our biggest challenges we have is the cost of construction. So you think about, what does it cost me to get fiber internet to my business? Well, got to go on a pole, got to underground, got to have a provider. There's so many aspects to it, and one of the challenges that we find is new neighborhoods are built, and the ones who have developers who opt to not spend a little bit extra per house. Say it's a couple $1,000 per house at closing to have that line run and be online. Not a lot of people want to do that. So one of our challenges we have, and I don't think it's unique to just my business model, I think every business has it. How do you get people to want to buy your service and not spend a fortune when you're offering a high value product? So one of the ways that we are looking to combat that is we work as a community, as a group, as a whole to support Kitsap locally. So other than, run that piece of glass to the building and set it up, you're online, great. But how do you make money past that? How do you help your community? How do you help your neighbor downstairs who wants internet or down the street? And they're like, well, I don't want to pay 20 grand. I don't want to pay 20 grand. So then we look at solutions like, well, what about high-speed wireless? So that's what we specialize in, is taking the internet from point A to point B. But not just doing that, but bringing in 2, 3, however many connections you need to keep that internet online and redundant. Because going offline in 2024 or any year doesn't work for anybody, including me. I hate being offline. I hate being disconnected. I just spent 2 weeks out of town and tried to disconnect, and I couldn't do it. It was difficult. Okay, I took 4 days off, but that's beside the point. So.
Okay, I just got to ask, how many people have been offline in the last 2 weeks? Just curious. So, the Kitsap business landscape is growing here regionally. What do you see are some opportunities for small businesses?
Sure, yeah, I'll kick off. I see a lot of opportunities for general contractors, subcontractors, as well as specialty contractors. There's a boom in this state, right? We have some of the highest GDP, but we are dead last in building in the whole United States of America. It's like crazy to think of, right? But that's an opportunity zone, right? We can start new businesses. We can, get economic development. We can bring more inclusion. There's a lot of possibilities, I think, of that. I think the last time I went to the WIDA conference, right, as well as the Economic Summit over in Spokane, they said that we need 1.1 million homes over the next 18 years. Like, that's incredible, right? So that means that we're going to have a lot more people coming in, as well as supporting for people who have needs right now. And we're talking every economic situation here, right? Between people who need emergency sheltering to people who need mega mansions, right? And then all in between, right? So those are great opportunities. I think that we are going to absolutely get it. Look what we've already done here in Kitsap County. We've created something amazing.
Nice, yeah. I kind of answered that question. I answered this question on my first response, but I'm going to twist it again and just kind of reiterate, in today's world, it's so global. Commerce, business, social network, I mean, everything. 50% of my business in 2022 was actually international. It's come down a little bit, I think, mostly due to currency and conflict and just general macroeconomic reasons. But Kitsap's kind of this gem where it feels like you live in a fairly rural country place. I see the mountains, we have the water. It's a really comfortable place to live. But UPS ground gets my stuff next day to Oregon, or I can have a supplier on Whidbey or in Seattle and get stuff moved around like pretty efficiently, and very like quality, high-tech manufacturing happens in really this whole side of the state, and it all can happen really effectively from Kitsap. So really in a global market, I think we're lucky to have this gem and all of the access to the rest of the Puget Sound region, aside from the ferry woes. Of course, I commiserate on that.
In terms of opportunity for my business, and it sort of relates to what we were talking about earlier with FIFA 2026, is getting people here to enjoy this part of the world. So lots of folks from Seattle are having a great time there, but they don't get a chance to explore. And I've got friends who've been in Seattle their entire lives and have absolutely no idea where I live. They think Kingston's an island. They think all of these things. So the opportunity to actually bring some folks over to experience this place a little bit more is really what I'm excited about.
I think for our business model is, we look at Kitsap. Great, we did amazing things in Kitsap. But what about the other county? What about Mason? What about Clallam, Jefferson? What about outside the state of Washington? Surely there has to be other entrepreneurs, tech people, nerdy people who say, hey, I want to start an internet provider. How do I do that? So one of our goals down the road is we want to franchise our business, teach other people to be successful following the same guidelines, giving them the tools and resources they need to be successful.
Awesome. I mean, those are exciting things. But your businesses they're fairly established, and it took you a little while as an effort to get here. What kind of resources along the way were you able to access, and how did they help your business get to where it is today?
For me, the biggest resources were my network. My friends, my family, my neighbors. I run a business about fish and enjoying fish and pescatarian lifestyle and adventure. I live around those people now. They were the ones who gave me the connections. They're the ones who gave me the referrals and that sort of thing. So I was able to use my network effectively.
I will proudly say Kita, we're all here. Thank you very much, as well as Chamber of Commerce, really, and really all the economic development groups, throughout Kitsap. It's really been a really collaborative effort, especially dealing with the conservation districts. Really happy, because when we first started, right, everybody looked at it as something that was very hippy-dippy, right? They're like, what are you guys trying to take cannabis and put it in walls? Like, what is that? Can you smoke it? No, you can't, all right? That's the truth, right? The wall's not going to burn, right? So, when I think of that, there's so many people. We have so many great community-centric people that live within here because they've traveled the world. They've experienced life. Right? They have a wealth of knowledge. They're open extensions. They want their connections to be your connections, right? And I think when you have that kind of model or type of people that reside within your county, you're going to have a lot of successes. Some that'll shock you.
Yeah, I can't emphasize network enough, and I'm guilty, honestly, over the last couple years of not growing my network. We've just had our heads to the grindstone trying to figure out how to make these things. But I actually called Joe when I read about some state grants for advanced manufacturing. I did get a state grant a few years ago, specifically to address international markets. And they basically funded my new website, and that was super helpful. I'm trying to get another grant for advanced manufacturing because we are using zero VOC paints and finishes. All of our material is recycled or repurposed from Boeing or their material suppliers. So sustainability, responsibility is huge for us. But I'm going to try and grow my network again. I mean, it's been great to connect with Joe. This event has been really eye-opening for me. Again, I sort of came here with like my eyes wide open. Like I've been in a paint booth and we've been laying up carbon fiber. So I haven't thought about I haven't been doing any of the fun stuff lately like this, like meeting people and talking about branding again. I mean, I remember going through that. And so just anything you can do to grow your network, because I am amazed at how many of my vendors or my employees are word of mouth. I don't work with a single company or an employee that I found via Google or even social media, Facebook next door. It is all because I met someone, worked with them, and they suggested this. It's all word of mouth. So anything you can do to grow that network, I think, is key for success in Kitsap.
I mean, I think it goes almost without saying that you can't understate the power of a solid network. And I feel like this is a really close community that lends itself to that.
So for us, the Chamber of Commerce, if you want to start a business, you want to be part of Kitsap, join your Chamber of Commerce, because the networking you're going to make will make it happen for you. We're in Kingston, we're in Paulsbo, we're on Bainbridge. They're probably going to get me to go to the Greater Kitsap Chamber, and then probably KETA, and I don't know how many other organizations. We're part of Kiwanis and some other ones too. And it's like, your community is your business. Those are your customers, your word of mouth. People will refer you because of you, not because of, oh, you do this here. No, because they like you. They like what you do. They, like Bob said this, or Kylie back there, or Joe back there is like, call Andrew. He'll make it work for you. That's how it works.
And I love hearing you guys' stories. I do want to plug though. Washington State is amazing for resources for small businesses. The Department of Commerce is very forward-thinking. As are I had to plug it. I mean, there's Scale Up, there's Thrive. Just with Lumong, and we've got a number of other state agencies here too that you should check out. But this is a very forward-thinking, forward business state, so it should be noted. I think the next one's kind of the most exciting for me, and it's like, what's next for your business?
So the exciting part for our business, and I think with any person who runs an internet provider, but no one here does, so I don't think they understand our challenges as well as we do. But rather, like I said, rather than complain about it, let's do something about it. So that remote control that people have in their hands, they want to watch TV. They don't want to learn to transition to stream, so they'll stick with whatever provider so they can watch TV. So as of next month, we're going to be able to offer television to residential over fiber optic and wireless. We partner with the TV company, and low income or low cost telephone. So those who still want to pick up a phone and call somebody rather than, okay, my cell phone, is it going to work? Okay, got one bar. Doesn't work for me. So exciting for us to be able to soon offer television and home phone for people as part of what we offer. Don't make a ton of money on it, but it's about what can I do to make your life a little bit easier. Doesn't make me lots of money. Might lose money on it. No, we don't lose money on it. But how do I help you? How do I make a difference? And that's really our goal and our mantra on we're Kitsap. We do this and we want to help.
We are, if I understand the question correctly, we're very excited about some new business ventures that will likely get wild fish into the school districts here in a greater capacity here in Washington State. So that's the next venture. We're excited about it. I'm working hard, and that's what's coming up.
That's awesome. Yes. Well, I would say green means go, right? That for us right now. We have a code that's an appendix that's internationally accredited. No builder or architect can essentially turn our product down, right? We have a higher value proposition than any other product, and it costs less because we're replacing 3 products with 1. So right now, it's all about workforce development. It's all about getting the word out. It's an exciting time, right? Who can really say in their lifetime they get to be a flag bearer of change, so to speak? That's what I wake up feeling, right? That's what keeps me up at night. So me and my team are just super excited. We're excited to engage and to keep growing by numbers, by making impact.
Cool. I have a very non-exciting answer to an exciting question, which is we're kind of in survival mode. I mean, the business is profitable. We are growing, but as a small business owner, I'm sure you all can relate. When you go from doing everything yourself, from the drywall to the plumbing to the electrical, to realizing there are only so many hours in a day, and I need to hire people to paint, to sand, to print shipping labels, to fulfill, do customer service, the business becomes unprofitable because now you're paying people to do all this work that you were doing, and you thought it was profitable because technically the business is making money, but you were really just working 80-hour weeks for nothing. So we're in that like trough, and we're starting to crawl out. It's kind of the first time we've ever had the opportunity to spend some money on marketing and PR, and that's all really exciting. We've been in a fortunate position where demand has really exceeded supply, but the sport is moving quickly. We will be launching an aluminum mast here pretty soon, which will be a much lower price point, which would be more introductory. You might see more of those out, like if you see boats out wake foiling in the bay, people foiling behind boats, they're typically on aluminum setups. They don't need the stiffness or the strength of carbon fiber. So yeah, we've got some new products in the pipeline, but as a small business owner, you're kind of like mostly just putting out fires all day and trying to find opportunities for design and engineering, but it can be challenging.
So you took the time and you brought up a sample of your products, and I just want to give you the opportunity to take it off the stage so that everybody can see what a foil looks like.
Yeah, so we actually make this. This is a complete hydrofoil. The surfboard, or the kite board, or the wing foil board, or whatever watercraft you are riding would bolt onto the top here, and the two surfaces down here. It's just like an airplane. It's got a main wing and a horizontal stabilizer that fly in the water. And so you lift out of the water, again, with the propulsion of a kite or an inflatable wing sail. We have a company in Australia that actually integrates electric motors onto the mast, so you don't need any wind power. But there's actually enough energy in a 2 to 3 foot wave, or even 1 foot, depending on how good you are, or even flat water if you can pump. And you can actually ride these things. I've got a customer in LA who foil surfed continuously for 1 hour. So I was never interested in surfing. I actually grew up here in Kitsap on Bainbridge, never been a surfer because the coast was just too far away, but I've always been into wind sports. And wind sports, you're always on. You know, you're kiting, you're always going. But surfing, when I lived in the Bay Area, I just saw some people fighting out in the break, and I was like, I don't know if I'm going to be a surfer. But now that you have these foils, people can actually ride the wave and then turn out and pump out to the next set and foil continuously for hours on end. So yeah, we actually just make the mast. We make a very high-end aftermarket mast that interfaces with any brand's foils. It's a very new market, very fragmented market. And we saw an opportunity to make a mast that uses machined fittings to connect with any foil so that you're not having to buy a new mast every time a new cool wing comes out. It'd be like buying a new car every time you need new tires. That doesn't make sense. So we developed this, and yeah, we're excited for the aluminum model here to increase compatibility and growth. So thanks.
Cool. Sweet. Awesome. Well, thank you for sharing that. And thank you all for sharing your businesses. Truly inspiring. I mean that. I know that Ashley and I had talked a bit at length the other day about some of the opportunities for that type of building materials. And I know that Andrew and I have talked previously as well. So exciting businesses. Thank you very much. Let's give it up for